Have you ever wondered why the world we live in is the way that it is? Why do the rich get richer while the poor get poorer? And why are we surrounded by a pay-to-win capitalistic world? Well, it's because of his ideas. His name was Adam Smith, but you can't blame him entirely though, because his initial ideas were truly revolutionary and had many distinctive characteristics compared to the system we have today. Adam Smith, often referred as the father of capitalism, was basically the OG economist. He is best known for his groundbreaking book, The Wealth of Nations, which came out in 1776, and also known for his economic concept called the invisible hand. This book and his theories were game changers because they laid the foundation for how we understand and run modern economies. Adam Smith believed that individuals, when left to pursue their own self-interest in a competitive market, unintentionally promote the greater good of society as if guided by an invisible hand. This concept suggests that markets tend to self-regulate, leading to efficient allocation of resources and overall economic prosperity. The Wealth of Nations itself has approximately 1180 pages, so we're going to start easy by discussing one of the main ideas that Adam Smith wrote about in the book, the concept of the invisible hand. To understand this concept, let's imagine a multiplayer game where players can buy and sell virtual items in an in-game marketplace. In this game, there is no central authority controlling prices or deciding what items should be available. Instead, each player acts in their own self-interest, trying to get the best deals for themselves. Now let's say there's a sudden increase in demand for a particular item because it's needed to complete a new quest or level in the game. What happens is that players who have this item in their inventory realize they can sell it for a higher price due to the increased demand. As a result, they start listing their items at higher prices in the marketplace. On the other hand, players who see the higher prices may decide it's worth their time to gather more of these items and sell them for profit. So they start collecting and selling the item in greater quantities, trying to take advantage of the opportunity to make more in-game money, which also may lower or stabilize the price of that item. In this scenario, there's no game developer or administrator directly telling players what to do. Instead, each player's individual actions, motivated by their own desire to maximize their virtual wealth, collectively result in the price of the item increasing and more of it becoming available in the marketplace. And if that particular item is getting harder to sell, those who has listed the item will consider to lower the price as it seems that the demand is no longer high or the supply is enough for the price to stabilize. This self-regulating process, where individual actions unintentionally contribute to the overall functioning of the economy, is akin to the invisible hand at work in the game's virtual marketplace. Adam Smith suggested that even though everyone is focused on their own interests, something magical happens. It's as if there's an invisible hand guiding them, and this invisible hand makes sure that when people make decisions that benefit themselves, they unintentionally help others and the overall economy. Basically, it's about how self-interest can lead to good outcomes for society as a whole, even though that's not what people intended. So the invisible hand is like an unseen force that helps keep the economy running smoothly just by people pursuing their own interests. For the book The Wealth of Nations, I'm going to use city-building simulation games as examples, like Tropico or Cities Skylines. In these games, you're tasked with managing various aspects of a virtual city, from zoning residential, commercial, and industrial areas, to providing essential services like electricity, water, and transportation. In his book, Smith talks about how nations accumulate wealth and prosperity. He emphasizes that a nation's wealth doesn't just come from its stockpiles of gold and silver, but rather from the productivity and efficiency of its people and resources. The better education your citizens have, the more efficiently you can run the country's economy. The better upgrades your buildings have, the greater the outcomes you can profit from. Think of your city as the nation and its resources, such as land, labor, and capital, as the building blocks of wealth. Just like in the game where you need to allocate resources wisely to grow your city, Smith emphasizes the importance of efficient resource allocation in real-world economies. One of the key concepts Smith discusses is the division of labor. He observes that when workers specialize in specific tasks, they become more skilled and efficient, leading to increased productivity. This idea is akin to assigning different roles to citizens in your city game based on their specialization. For example, some low-educated citizens might work in shops and factories, while higher-educated citizens might become doctors, teachers, or researchers, each contributing to the overall prosperity of the city. Smith also emphasizes the importance of competition in stimulating innovation and fostering economic growth. In MMO games, this competitive dynamic is evident when players strive to outperform each other in challenges or quests, pushing themselves to develop new strategies and skills to succeed. Likewise, in the real world, competition among businesses compels them to innovate and enhance their offerings to attract customers and gain market share, ultimately driving advancements in technology and services and contributing to overall economic progress and development. And this is one of the roots of modern capitalism. Those who can compete are those who has the capital, and those who don't have as much capital will play on a different level. Hence born the pay-to-win term, which is essentially the reflection of modern capitalism in modern video games. Another concept central to Smith's work is the idea of free markets and government interference. Imagine there's a sudden surge in complaints from players about unfair pricing practices in the marketplace. Some players have monopolized certain rare items and are selling them at exorbitant prices, making it difficult for others to progress in the game without spending a lot of the in-game money. To address this issue, the game developers decide to introduce regulations to control prices and prevent monopolies. They implement a system where there's a maximum price limit for certain items, ensuring that players can still access them without being unfairly exploited. As a result of this government or developer intervention, the prices of these rare items decrease, making them more accessible to a larger number of players. Additionally, the new regulations promote fair competition in the marketplace, as players are no longer able to hoard items and manipulate prices for their own gain. But when a price ceiling is set below the equilibrium price determined by supply and demand, it creates a significant impact on the market dynamics. In this scenario, there emerges an excess demand for the item at the capped price. Despite players' desire to purchase the item at this price, they encounter a stark reality that there simply aren't enough sellers willing to provide it at the capped price. Consequently, shortages ensue, leaving players frustrated and unable to acquire the desired item. Because of this, some seller may try to circumvent the situation by engaging in black market transactions. They may sell the item at higher prices outside of the in-game marketplace, taking advantage of the scarcity created by the price ceiling. And oftentimes, they trade the items with real-life money, which also known as RMT or real money transaction. And this creates an underground economy that operates outside of the game's rules and regulations, potentially leading to further complications. This is why Adam Smith's ideas emphasize the importance of limited government intervention in economic affairs. He argued that markets should operate with minimal interference from authorities, allowing individuals to freely engage in economic activities based on their own self-interest and judgment. According to Smith, government intervention in the economy could distort market mechanisms, hinder competition, and impede economic growth. Instead, he advocated for the establishment of a framework of laws and regulations to maintain order and protect property rights, but cautioned against excessive government control. Adam Smith believed that allowing markets to function freely would lead to more efficient allocation of resources and greater overall prosperity. Now, to understand why this is such a big deal, we need to compare this to the economy system prior to Adam Smith's ideas. In some other video games, you can encounter a system reminiscent of feudalism, where resources and items are controlled centrally, much like how land and goods were managed by feudal lords in medieval times. This system is often found in offline video games, where prices of items and resources are dictated by the game developers, with little consideration for market dynamics or player interaction, because of course, other people you meet in-game are NPCs. Similar to how peasants and serfs work the land under the authority of feudal lords, players in these games may find themselves subject to the decisions and control of the game developers, with limited autonomy over trade and exchange within the game world. This is one of the core critics of Adam Smith. He criticized feudalism for its inefficiency, lack of market freedom, restriction of individual liberty, and inefficient resource allocation. He argued that the rigid social structure and lack of incentives for productivity in feudalism hindered economic growth. Smith believed that free markets, driven by self-interest and individual liberty, were essential for efficient resource allocation and economic progress. And that's how his ideas are shaping our world today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this video, please give a like and subscribe, but if you don't, feel free to hit that dislike button and comment down below on how I can improve our future videos. Your feedback will be hugely appreciated. I'm Pandoom, and I'll see you later in the next video.